traveled so far and lingered so long.
Northeast Wisconsin has finally ended a streak of 9 days under an air quality advisory. They were in effect all the way from last Tuesday evening through noon this Wednesday. And as you heard us say over and over and over again, it was smoke from Canadian wildfires that was the culprit. But believe it or not, it wasn't like we were continuously getting a fresh supply of that smoke every day. Much of the smoke that moved in at the start of the event was the same smoke that stuck around all the way at the end. So here's what happened. Last Tuesday, we had a cold front that swept through northeast Wisconsin late in the evening. And while it did provide relief from a stretch of hot, humid days, it also swept in a thick layer of smoke from those Canadian wildfires. And as that front continued on, high pressure built in from the west. Now, high pressure centers typically feature lighter winds, a clockwise flow around them, and a tendency for air to stagnate underneath them. And all of those things combined to keep this smoke around for more than a week. Now, as this high set up camp on top of the Great Lakes, you can actually almost see the plumes of smoke kind of pivoting around that high. And the jet stream also slipped up off to the north and away from this high, so there wasn't much to force our pattern to change. So once we had all that smoke in place, it just kind of circulated over and over and over again. And now this high finally starting to depart off to the east, so we're also seeing that air mass move on, and with it, we're seeing that smoke and haze finally start to thin out.
If you're still looking for intense summer heat, you'll want to head to the southwest. Phoenix, Arizona could set an all-time record for August today, with afternoon temperatures expected to hit near 117 degrees. Yesterday, the Valley of the Sun broke a daily 30-year-old record when the mercury peaked at 116 degrees. Extreme heat warnings stretch now from Palm Springs in California's Sonoran Desert all across southern Arizona. These temperatures are expected to last at least through tomorrow. Well, hot and humid weather in the east has triggered a bug boom. Victoria Sanchez looks at two pests that are peaking in the mid-Atlantic and how climate change is playing a role.
The destructive and invasive spotted lanternfly hitched a ride from eastern Asia about a decade ago. And while they don't bite or sting, the colorful bugs can stunt plant growth and reduce crop yields, according to the Maryland Department of Agriculture. If your dog or cat happens to eat a lanternfly, don't worry, they're not toxic to pets. But ticks can and will bite pets and their humans alike, and can spread illnesses like Lyme disease. In the Northeast, last month, CDC data shows 138 tick bites for every 100,000 emergency room visits. That's up from 92 for every 100,000 ER visits in July of 2024. In a sideline briefing this week, university professors explained one reason for the increase.
We might be more familiar with some of the impacts on things like heat waves or hurricanes or extreme flooding or droughts or wildfires. But increasingly, we're recognizing that climate change is affecting infectious diseases as well. And some of these mosquito and tick-borne diseases are kind of ground zero for climate change starting to affect our health.
Having a mild spring and a really wet summer and really warm temperatures, I think we're heading into what could be a serious West Nile virus year.
So far this year, 98 cases of West Nile virus were reported across the country. As for the spotted lanternflies, squash them.
The National Weather Service is reversing course. In fact, now it's in the process of hiring back hundreds of workers following massive cuts and a federal hiring freeze. The Trump administration confirmed the National Weather Service is hiring 450 meteorologists, hydrologists, and radar technicians. Staff reductions were first carried out earlier this year by the Department of Government Efficiency. Well, coming up on the National Weather Desk, it's been 5 years since an extremely powerful and destructive derecho swept through central Iowa. We'll look at how the state is still working to replace trees destroyed by the storm. And we'll tell you about the invasive mussels taking over a California coastline.
On Thursday, high pressure up to our north. We are going to see a mostly dry day across much of the northeast. However, some scattered showers, some storms possible for interior New England. We are going to stay on the dry side for the most part once again on Friday. Again, a rinse and repeat, chance for some scattered showers and even a thunderstorm as you head towards areas in interior New England for the day on Friday. But high temperatures today topping out in the 70s and low 80s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. A little more sunshine to come your way for Thursday. Just a stray shower chance, especially across the coastline where we could see a few more further to the south, but otherwise nice to see a little bit more sun. Temperatures will still be below the average, 70s in the mountains to the south where we'll have a little more cloud cover across mostly parts of Maryland. It'll still likely get to the 80s, and we'll see that again as we get into Friday as well.
Good Thursday morning, meteorologist Michael Arenberg checking out your southeast regional forecast. A lot of sunshine and lack of rain for areas near the Mississippi River Valley and Mississippi areas west, but further east, numerous showers and storms, especially along coastal North, South Carolina and Georgia. The heaviest rains will be across much of Florida as the east coast sea breeze marches west across the peninsula. High temperatures mostly in the low to mid 80s and rain-cooled areas with mostly low to mid 90s for central and south Florida.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
This gorgeous sunrise in Beaumont made the water ripples shimmer with brilliance. Takeoff from Myrtle Beach was decorated with this lovely rainbow seen outside the window. And meet Greytoe from Reno, enjoying a drink of water from the hose. Temperatures in Reno have been in the 90s this week.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
It's been more than a month since the deadly July flood swept through central Texas, and local government officials are coming together to provide a pathway for those who had their homes or properties impacted in Williamson County and Travis County. Jamal Kennedy has more about flood recovery efforts in this part of central Texas.
It was a heartbreaking and life-altering event for our neighbors in Big Sandy Creek and along Cow Creek. Lives were lost, families were torn apart, homes and neighborhoods were damaged and destroyed.
It's a recovery process that's going to take months and even years for some, but the newly created Central Texas Community Foundation is raising money for those in Travis and Williamson counties as well as other parts of Central Texas.
The role of this community foundation is not just to react, but to respond with integrity, with transparency, and with compassion so that long-term these people can get back on their feet.
Applicants impacted by the floods are able to apply for the next several weeks, with this process being separate from applying for FEMA disaster relief. Meanwhile, at the county, the legislative duties continue as the commission discusses housing plans for those who lost everything in the Cow Creek and Big Sandy Creek areas.
With some folks out there who unfortunately lost their homes, their goal is to try to have some place to stay.
And nearly 5 years have passed now since the August 2020 derecho swept through central Iowa, destroying the tree canopy in the Cedar Rapids area. It'll take decades to completely restore the canopy, but a special project right now aims to get it done. Grayson Freund reports.
Our goal is to bring back our community to a point that was superior to when the derecho hit.
Planting Forward is a habitat restoration program that lets local Linn County organizations offer employees up to 3 free native trees, all selected from the provided species list. Participants place their order online, pick up the trees, and then plant. But the work doesn't stop at planting. Monarch Research goes beyond by educating about tree care and the incredible benefits trees bring.
You can go to the work of buying and planting a tree, but if you haven't done it correctly, the tree could be dead in 2 or 3 years.
People often plant trees for aesthetic value, but it's important to consider the impact of choosing native trees over non-natives.
The tree and its place in the ecosystem, way more important than the looks of the tree. And so you can get a very good looking ginkgo tree, for instance. It does zero for our animal kingdom, our pollinators. They can't eat the leaf on a ginkgo because it's a foreign species.
Invasive golden mussels have been spreading up and down the coast of California since they were first discovered about 10 months ago. Gabriel Porras spoke with officials about how they plan to stop them.
Near a closed-off dock Monday, just waves away from the heart of Stockton's ports, local leaders touring the heart of a now statewide problem.
Those are some pilings that were recently pulled probably a few weeks ago that have big mats of golden mussels attached to them.
The invasive golden mussel species detected for the first time in North America right here near the port of Stockton last October. Since then, a state map shows they've traveled as far south as LA County.
We're learning a lot about them, what they like to attach to, the amount of light that they like. This is a new environment for them. The fear is that they could clog water intakes throughout the area.
27 million Californians depend on water from right here, and all that water is at risk. We need more resources.
Meanwhile, inside a lab in Davis, a team of scientists is already on it.
Yeah, so we look for naturally occurring microorganisms, natural products to control invasive species.
Pam Marone leads the group at the Invasive Species Corporation. They already have a product that deals with other types of mussels.
And we're adapting that to control the golden mussels. And we have tested it here in our lab, and we're getting very high kill of the mussels, golden mussels, but at a higher dosage than the zebra and quagga mussels. These are really hardy, which makes me worry.
Also worrisome is that the team's current product is designed for pipes and small areas.
For large water bodies, that would be the Generation 2 product, which we would be hoping to have out next year.
A disruptive species looms below the surface, but there is now hope on the horizon.
It's really important to prevent it from spreading further because of the destruction that it does cause.
A couple from Green Bay is back home after an epic 11-month, 6,000-mile journey on their boat. The trip, called America's Great Loop, and travels the waters in and along the eastern U.S. Tony Langfellow has more on their once-in-a-lifetime adventure.
Family and friends greeted Chip Vicenzi and Janet Van Dyke as they docked their boat at the Green Bay Yacht Club Tuesday afternoon, marking the end to a long and educational journey for the couple.
Every day was a new challenge, a new marina, a new anchorage someplace, meeting new people. Every day was something new.
The couple decided to pursue America's Great Loop to fulfill their love of boating and the opportunity to see America from a new lens.
It was to see the world at 8 and 9 knots versus 75 mile an hour down the highway. We saw things that we never otherwise see in life.
Chip and Janet's journey started here in Green Bay in September of 2024. They then headed south all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, around Florida, into the Atlantic Ocean, and back up north through the Great Lakes and back here in Green Bay, for a total of about 6,700 miles. Only a couple hundred people do this loop and succeed each year. Along the way, their expedition was met with plenty of obstacles, including nasty weather and rough riding on the Gulf and Atlantic Ocean.
A lot of challenges along the way. Almost wrecked a couple of times. We broke a couple of times. And that's just normal for the Great Loop.
There were also a lot of positives from their trip, memories they'll never forget.
We made some awesome friends, lifelong friends that, just the people and boaters are just amazing.
The scene was also filled with a lot of emotions as Chip and Janet completed the final leg of the Great Loop, not only for them, but their family as well.
My dad's one of my best friends. It's difficult to be away from people you love, and it's just great to have him back.
He just accomplished a feat that not many of us would get to do,
and I'm so proud and happy to see him home.
And there was no doubt in anyone's mind Chip and Janet would successfully complete one of the greatest American boat journeys.
When he sets himself out a goal, he always makes it. It doesn't matter whether it's jumping a ski-doo over the road or doing a trip like this.
All right, now time for a short break as we soar over northern Michigan.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Got a few scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Midwest for the day today, and we start to see a few more of those to the north tomorrow, but it's going to be hot for most of the Midwest. A little cooler in Bismarck tomorrow with some of that rain there. 77 for the high, 78 on Saturday, but most of the rest of us still staying in the 80s or 90s, some places closer to the triple digits the farther south you go.
Well, a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region, and we're looking for a lot of hot sunshine. Temperatures pretty close to where they should be this time of the year in August, with 90s to around 100, 101. There is a slight chance of a shower thunderstorm with the sea breeze along the Gulf Coast. And as we head into your Friday forecast, really a similar forecast. Mainly dry across the region, hot sunshine, small chance of rain along the Gulf Coast.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. We've enjoyed this refreshing rain, a little touch of autumn in August in the PNW. Still a couple of sprinkles left today between Seattle and Portland, but look at the heat back, nearly 120 in Phoenix and Tucson. As such, we have extreme heat watches and warnings there in the deserts of Arizona, and high fire danger back in business for much of Utah. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, lightning struck too close to home for the owners of a historic house east of Asheville in North Carolina. Now they're counting their losses and still looking for their family dog. Itanese McMillan reports.
Firefighters say there's heavy fire damage to the attic and second floor, with smoke, heat, and water damage to the first floor. Officials say one of their firefighters saw a lightning strike in the area while returning from a previous call. The homeowners thankfully were not home, but showed up shortly after the fire started in a state of shock.
It's surreal. Like you sit and you think, well, that's not it, and you turn your head and you look and you're like, yes, that's our home.
It's more emotional talking.
Yeah. Investigators say the fire started from a direct lightning strike that hit the brick chimney in the center of the home. It took more than 7 hours and a team of 70 firefighters to put the fire out. The family says this is the only Greek Gothic revival home in the entire county. It'll be hard for them to part ways, but they say they're taking it one day at a time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on a Thursday, or we like to say Friday Eve. I'm meteorologist Brian Vandergraff. Make it a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.